All right, folks, we are live again Thursday morning, back on schedule Tuesday and Thursday. I'm messing with a few things, so I've got a new light because I've got this window right here that gives me a ton of light from this side. I didn't have anything over there, so I'm trying some new lighting options. So you have to let me know if it's worse, better, or the same. Just trying to keep leveling things up. Speaking of leveling things up, I want to thank Scrum Sarge for jumping in and volunteering to be our first chat moderator. If you were here on Tuesday, you saw the interesting world of Twitch where people raid your channel, they come into your channel, it caused a bit of disruption, try and distract you, and they succeeded in distracting me. So I want to thank everyone for Tuesday for dealing with that. I did figure out how to manage that. I now have tools directly in the chat that will let me temporarily ban people or even ban me. Scrum Sarge also has the capability to do that, so that will help because Tuesday I was trying to figure out how to handle that guy and keep the content rolling. So big thanks to Scrum Sarge for helping out with that. It's going to make a huge difference and hopefully continuing to deliver high quality content. So if anybody else would like to jump in and be a mod, that would be super helpful because Scrum Sarge might need to take a day off. You know, maybe he's going to go on vacation. Who knows what's going to happen? So I just want to thank everyone, and that opportunity's there. So we got it figured out. We're all learning together. So that was a learning opportunity for us on Tuesday. But everyone handled it well, again, so I appreciate that. And now we have the tools. We have learned. We know what to do. Cool. All right. So another thing that came up at the end of last stream is Scrum Sarge asked me about my follower goal. If you see up above me, my follower goal is at 57 with the plan of getting to 100. And like a great Scrum Master, Scrum Sarge was poking me, saying, hey, what about that goal? Are you still trying to get it? What are you going to do? And I realized I felt kind of bad when he asked me that, you know, as happens when you take your eye off the ball. I did take my eye off the ball of the follower goal. Once we got to 50, for those of you that were here when we reached that threshold, that did open some things, allowed subscribers and VIPs and mods and all those things. So it enabled us to continue to grow. But we haven't continued to grow as a channel. So that's one of those things that I'm just going to keep going. I've got to continue to get the word out. If you guys can help get the word out. Again, the goal here is to build a community for everybody to help each other. It is 100% not about me. I am the guy. Oh, my light just went dark. So we'll see how that goes. I have no desire to have every answer come from me. I actually prefer to have most of the answers come from chat, from you guys. And I actually want to really dig into that and see how effective we can be with that today. Brave Dave in Discord. So if you don't know our Discord server, similar to Slack, but highly integrated with Twitch. We're having good discussions that are on there. And Brave Dave, for the second stream in a row, has brought the content idea. And his content idea, his question, his challenge was talking about how people became Scrum Masters. It was very interesting timing because I'm actually working on a blog post about this very thing. And I'm working on a blog post not just about the concept of trying to become a Scrum Master, but what I think this community can provide to everybody trying to make that happen. I'm actually titling the blog as Mentoring as a Service because I think you guys, this channel, this chat, this community can become that mentoring as a service. We've had a lot of people come on here and ask, how do I find a mentor? How do I become a Scrum Master? And everybody's jumped in and helped. So maybe, rather than going and trying to find that one mentor, maybe we can collectively become the mentor for many people. So that's one of those thoughts and ideas that I want to try out. So that's today's topic. We're going to talk about becoming a Scrum Master, getting into Agile. I'll tell my story of how I did it. Then I'm looking to hear from you guys about how you guys made that happen. So that way we can help everyone else that's here. So before we do that, Thanks to Scrum Sarge. He's reminding me to stay on target. If you have not hit the follower button, please do so. It's up at the top. It may look like a heart, depending on what device you're on. That will notify you whenever we go live, and it allows you to, again, be a stronger part of this community. You can subscribe. Twitch, as you see in the chat window, has partnered with Direct Relief, and I had to look that up, but it's an interesting approach in that what they do is they give money directly to people directly helping problems. So if you donate via Twitch and use the hashtag charity in chat, whenever you do that, 20 cents of every 100 bits that you donate is going to go to support those charities. So I put the link down below in case people wanted to see what that was. It looks like a pretty cool charity. I looked this morning, and in 2018 looked like over $1 billion had been given through that platform. So it's certainly no fly-by-night operation. I'm sure Twitch wouldn't partner with them if they weren't anything. So if you've never done bits, it's Twitch's currency. You can get it with that little pyramid looking thing down in chat that helps you do that. So first of all, actually that's not first. I can't say first of all. I've said a lot of things first. So on to the regular content. Rich, thanks for joining. Good to have you in the chat. Hello. Mr. Wilkins, again, good to see you. I'll never refer to you by your first name. I feel inappropriate. Agile Ideation back in the game. But that's exciting. That is exciting. It is interesting how many times, at least the people that I've talked to, it is a part-time role, then it becomes a full-time role. So I'll give you guys my journey to agileness. I don't know that I ever really was a Scrum Master directly. I'll just tell you how I got there. It all started, holy cow, probably 15 years ago. I was working for a small insurance company, and my boss at the time had worked for one of the big accounting firms in their software engineering process team. So she would get hired in, go help large companies get their software projects back on track. I grew up as a waterfall person. She ran everything as a waterfall person. So that's just what I knew. And I didn't know any better. And I just thought that's how things worked. That's what I was taught in school. That's what I was taught in my first couple of jobs. And that's how she was running things. Things changed. She ended up moving on, and I was left in charge. I was left steering this boat that was a bit adrift at sea. And the thing that hit me was I was frustrated with how things worked. I knew I didn't know insurance as well as the people actually doing the job, as well as the people running claims or running the underwriting department. So I had a general idea, but I really didn't know what the most important thing for them was. So I started pulling them in and asking them questions about what the priority should be. We did that on a relatively regular basis. We helped them organize the list of things that we were going to do, and I like to show things off early and often because I had been bitten in the past. I didn't know Agile was a thing. I just was trying to make life for my team better. We were 7 or 8 people doing the best we could for, again, a small insurance company, trying to deliver everything that Progressive needs. So we still had to do all the claims processing. We still had to write the software for the underwriting process. We still had to handle customer support. We still had to handle billing. So it was a big challenge for just 7 of us, and I didn't know where to go next. So I decided to partner with the business leaders and help them put things in order. And we did it pretty often. And then after 6 months or so of doing that, I got an email from one of my developers. He sent me this link. And he said, Josh, there's this thing called Agile, and I think we're doing it. And that just opened my eyes completely, and I actually changed the world for me because I didn't know other people were doing this thing. I just had my head down, was trying to do things right for my team and my company and everything that went along with that. And then I looked around. I was given the opportunity to step back and look around and said, holy cow, there's other people that are doing this, and they're doing it better than I am, and they have a plan, and they have suggestions on how to do some of the things we're trying to do, and that really accelerated us. At that point, I decided to move to North Carolina. I applied for a job. I ended up landing at Teradata, who happened to be making a transition from waterfall to agile. I happened to meet this guy named Bob Galen that was on the QA side of the house. I was on the software engineering side of the house. And I think Bob was hired to help make the transformation from waterfall to agile. I wasn't. I was just hired as a guy to just help move things along, help lead some of the software engineering teams, but I was really passionate about the process at that point. So that's where I nuzzled in under Bob Galen's wing, and he helped me learn what agile was and what it wasn't. He had done it for quite a while before then. I was a bit headstrong and young and expecting things to change overnight, and we had a lot of good discussions over lunch and in meetings, and that's what ended up creating our podcast, was those debates and discussions that we would have over lunch. I thought they were engaging and exciting, and I really enjoyed it. So I said, let's just put a microphone between us and do this over and over again. Bob thought I was crazy, and we tried it, and it worked, and it continues to work. And then about 3 or 4 months ago, I said, hey, Bob, we should do this live. And he said, well, why don't you do it live? I'll do it live every once in a while. And then we'll see how it works out. So here we are. Yeah, Josh, so I have that same feeling. I wanted to poll everyone here and see if everybody else stumbled upon it. Again, as I was writing this blog post that I'm working on, as I was putting the outline in place, there is no traditional path to become a Scrum Master or to become an Agile coach. I don't know what university you go to and study Agile or study Scrum or study those roles. I know there's some project management type things, but I know of no clear, and I'll use air quotes, traditional path to becoming a Scrum Master. There you go. Kraz, prove me wrong. That's why we're here, right? Because I know my little slice of the world, and I'm looking for you guys to help me open my eyes. Like, I know Agile Jamie across the pond. I know he's going to tell me, well, over here in England, this is how we do it, and it's better. Wait a minute. You're telling me, how do you get a PhD in Agile? That can't be a thing. Agile PhD. You might be right. Holy cow. Yeah, Agile Derek. Yeah, it's interesting that acquisition path I've seen to be quite common, and I've actually been a part of acquisitions and how do you manage process changes across those companies. Ooh, in my neck of the woods, down south. Yeah, Mr. Wilkins, that's the thing, is that I think what you'll see is, aside from Kraz, and again, I'm just looking for more input from other folks. Kraz looks like the only one that had a bit more of a traditional path. Hey, I grew up in Ohio, Josh, so I understand South versus non-South. All right, so let's see what Kraz. So again, Kraz, even though you did have that experience in school, it seemed like you migrated your way into that role of becoming Agile. It is a bit of an eye-opening moment. We go back to what Mr. Wilkins said. People just kind of discover it, and it's a bit of a new way to work. Nicely played, Jamie. Well done. Yeah, so Mr. Wilkins, uh, let me give you what I look for. Now, number one, when you start listening to me about hiring, know that I'm weird. I do it differently than most folks. So understand that. But I'm gonna at least tell you what I look for. So oftentimes the way I try and figure out how effective someone's going to be at Agile, especially in a Scrum Master role, is I look for them initiating and driving positive change. Oftentimes, you can see that in a resume where somebody talks about at this position or at this job or in this role, I transformed, transitioned, changed the way we did X, Y, or Z. Those are the things that I look for. Those are the things that I instruct my hiring managers to look for. Does this person have an ability and a desire to just continually make things better? Do they talk about it? What do they do? One of my key questions during the hiring process is I ask people about the best team they've worked with or the best person they've ever worked with. Then I ask them the opposite. What's the worst team you've ever worked with or the worst person that you've ever worked with? And I don't want names. I just want defining characteristics of what made that person or that team difficult to work with. That's not the important part of the question. The important part of the question is then, okay, what did you do about it? How did you try and make things better? And if they just go, I just kind of left, or I just decided to deal with it, then that's not the change agent that I'm looking for. I want to hear and see somebody that saw an issue, said, I'm not going to let this remain like this. I'm going to find a way to make it better. And through time, right, big changes like that don't happen overnight, but they eventually implemented a new process, or they put a new process in place, or they changed an old process, or they replaced something. What waste did they find, and what waste were they able to remove? That's ultimately what I'm looking for when I'm trying to decide, is this person going to be a good fit for what Agile means to me? Oftentimes it doesn't mean it's got a Scrum Master label or an Agile Coach label. But as Crass mentioned up in the chat a little bit while longer, it's becoming that change agent. See, I wouldn't know the difference, Scrum Sarge, about English and French. I'm glad you were able to call Jamie out, keep him honest with us, right? He's over there across the pond, keeping us on our toes. Yeah, Mr. Wilkins, that's my biggest frustration is hiring managers and recruiters that hire using checkboxes. That's one of the things that in the job descriptions that I write, I make sure people know I don't hire using checkboxes, because from my perspective, that's the lazy way out. That's the easy way out. That's how you don't really find the diamonds in the rough. That's how you don't find really effective people. In fact, my last team that I hired, I didn't do it intentionally, but I remember at some point we all were talking and I realized that 75% of our team didn't have a degree at all. There were 3 of us that had a degree, and they were a fantastic team. I would build that team all over again. But I was only able to hire that because I was able to look past the check boxes, and I didn't take the lazy way out of just having some word search tell me if a resume was good or bad. So I end up, as a hiring manager, spending a lot of time with the recruiters that are doing the frontline work for me to not let them do that, to try and get them to understand how important it is. And the problem is it's harder for them. So a lot of recruiters don't like to work with me because I make their job harder, because I don't let them just recruit by check boxes. So I do have a very slim number of recruiters that will work with me, but those that do are fantastic. And those that do have made a lot of money because they've been able to figure out how to identify what a Josh hire is. And they'll call me and say, "Hey Josh, I found somebody that fits your model." And I say, "Okay, cool, let's get them on the phone." And away we go. And I got to a point during one of my most frenzied hiring process that we ended up hiring 75% of the people that we brought on site. That was fantastic. So again, we reduced waste, because hiring and the interview process requires a lot of your team, from my perspective, to do it well. So we super optimized it, but we only super optimized it because I spent a lot of time with the recruiters up front, not letting them do those things that you're talking about that are frustrating, because it doesn't work. So, okay, I got to catch up on chat here for a minute. So the question I have for you, Mr. Wilkins, is that if the company is going to hire only based on X number of years and experience with a specific label, is that a company you want to work for? So are they actually doing you a favor by not engaging in the hiring process with you? I think the answer is yes. Actually, I know the answer is yes. But it's going to be hard to get over that fact, because I've been there. I understand that. Yeah, agile ideation is hitting right on the head. So focus on the responsibilities. That's why we talked about a few streams ago just doing agile and finding a way to show people that you are agile, you are operating in an agile mindset, you are operating as a scrum master, you are creating change, you are reducing waste, all those things. Oh, Jamie, what language is that? Oh man, look at that. Podcast recommendations, fantastic. Yeah, if you can get around the recruiter, that's really your best bet. So, Scrum Sarge, my assumption, and we'll let Jamie answer in whatever language he chooses to answer in. I was talking about, and I was thanking you for stepping up and being our first moderator of the chat in case anything bad happens again, like Tuesday. So, regarding the headhunter versus recruiter, let me tell you where I've had the most luck, the most effective work, both as a hiring manager as someone looking for a job. There's the recruiters that are doing the searching, talking to people, initial phone calls with everybody. Then there's the account manager that has a team of recruiters working for him or her. I've had the most luck in spending time working with, learning, understanding account managers. Recruiters, that's a tough business, and those recruiters come and go. If you can find a good, stable account manager that understands who you are and what you're looking for, that's the person to attach to. That's the person to connect with. That's the person to stay in touch with, because those recruiters going out and doing the work of finding people, that's a difficult job. They don't pay terribly well, and actually people try and get out of that job as quickly as they can. They want to become account managers, all those things. So find that account manager that understands what you're looking for and can help you. And number one, those are the folks that actually have the relationships with the hiring managers in the company. So they are the ones that will call and say, "Hey, I've got this person. They're the ones that called me and said, hey, Josh, we found this Josh hire, and you should probably talk to him because he just came on the market. We haven't pushed him to anyone yet, so we can give you a sneak peek. So find a good account manager. There were, at the peak of my hiring, I only worked with 3. Because just beyond that, it was too hard to keep track of. But those 3 I've stayed in touch with, and those 3 have helped me throughout my career and become that next level, whatever I want to be. So they are the ones that call me about companies that are hiring someone like me. They help me get my foot in the door. One of the things that when somebody helps you with that, you end up helping them back. So when I got my first gig here in North Carolina, I was super grateful for the account manager that helped me land here. So when I was hiring 10, 12 people at a time, he was the first person that I called. So it was an investment for him to help me get hired, especially in a hiring manager role. So account managers are the ones to really spend your time with. Yeah, so not every account manager is good. That's why I said I only work with 3. I found 3 that were fantastic, and I've stuck with them. Unfortunately, they were so good, they moved on in their careers. One moved to San Diego and started her own business. There's one that I still work with. There's another one that moved up and is now super VP of something. So he really doesn't do the same thing. He still helps me out here and then because he still knows people. But those relationships are super helpful in navigating your career. So, Mr. Wilkins, I can connect you to one of the guys that I've worked with pretty closely. Are you here? What part of the world are you in? Are you here in North Carolina? Because if you're not, that might not actually help out. Nine 919. All right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I'll get your information over. I think we may have we gone back and forth on email about things. If we haven't done that, if you're in our Discord, actually look at that. The link for the Discord just came up. If you're on our Discord, go in there and send me a message, and I'll see how I can help you there. Okay, cool. Yeah, so either LinkedIn or Discord, whichever you're more comfortable with, I'll be happy to help. We can get that discussion going and get you connected to some folks and hopefully solve this problem. All right, catching up on Jamie. It's good to know he's using the King's English. I believe that's the appropriate term for that. Thank you. For those of us that don't know the other language you were typing earlier. Man, look at Jamie dropping the knowledge. You can't be a prophet in your own land? Holy crap. If there was a way to like donate to you, I would do that right now. I don't know if I can do that. But I would give you bits. I would cheer. I can't Yeah, I can't. I don't know how to do that. I don't think I can do that. Yeah. Let me try this real quick. No, okay, that's not gonna work. Okay, I tried. That's another one of those things I'll have to figure out between between streams. Oh, come on. all these languages I don't know. I feel so inadequate. I clearly need to study my other languages. Okay, so I want to get back. Yeah, Jamie. One thing for those of you that are looking to step into roles, that first point that Jamie brings up is about stepping massively outside the comfort zone. That might be a move you have to make. Maybe your first role isn't Scrum Master. Maybe it's not the ideal role that you're looking for, but is it a stepping stone that gets you outside of your comfort zone, that teaches you some of those things that Jamie lists out here, that maybe gets you one step closer to that Scrum Master role? What is the MVP of that next role? Is that MVP of your role strictly a Scrum Master role? Or can you step into something else and view it as iteration number 1 and iteration 2 is right behind it, helping you get there? So maybe Scrum Master isn't exactly the first thing. Yeah, I probably should learn a bit more Swahili, given that the name of my company is a word from the Swahili language. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, kazi is Swahili for work, and that's the only word in Swahili that I know. So I should probably do better. So I think you've got to find a way, right? The thing, Mr. Wilkins, that I know is that you're passionate about it and you want to make it happen. So it's going to happen. There's no doubt in my mind that's going to happen. The path may not be as exactly yellow brick road as you thought it might be when you set off on this path to figure this out. Is each step you make going to be that much closer? So that's just something to figure out. Okay, so up to Rich's question, we got on a bit of a roll there. The best way to get a mentor. The common theme that we've seen coming out of this is just asking. I mean, you may have to ask a lot of people, but the thing that's been common with us that we've seen here as this question has come up is this channel, this community is an example of how ready, willing, and able Agile coaches are to help. Not all of them, right? As you see, we have a handful of people that are on right now. We don't have 1,000 people, but there are good people out there that want to help, that want to make a difference. You look at everybody jumping in to help Mr. Wilkins, everybody telling their stories about how they got into this in multiple languages. That's who we are. That's who Agile coaches are. They want to help. And the interesting thing is the likelihood is that somebody helped somebody along the way. So many people probably didn't end up in these roles without the help of someone. Like mine is Bob Galen, right? I didn't even know it. It just happened. So there are people that are out there. And the other thing that I think this channel can become, I think this channel can be your mentor. I think this channel is what I'm starting to term a mentor as a service, where you can come here every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern and ask questions. And you've got a dozen or so people that are ready to jump in and help. That's what this channel is about. That's what gets me excited. That's why I'm so ecstatic by watching the chat scroll through. Like, I love seeing the chat go so fast that I can't keep up, because I know you guys are helping each other. And that's what's important to me. That's why we're doing this here. You get taught French in school? Like, that's a mandatory thing? Like, you can't, it's not a voluntary thing? Like here in the US, a lot of schools, you have an elective and you have to take a foreign language and you can pick your language. Usually I've seen it's either like Spanish or French, and that's pretty much it. I know a couple places that offer German, a few that offered Latin, but that's about it. So is French like a requirement for everybody there? That's interesting. Interesting. Yeah, the only way I really learned Spanish is my stepmother was a high school Spanish teacher. And growing up, my stepmother and my dad, around Christmas time, would start speaking Spanish about gifts and things they were going to get my sister and I. So I learned Spanish pretty quickly, just out of necessity, trying to decipher what they were talking about. And my dad was terrible at Spanish. He basically just put "o" on the end of every word, which made it pretty easy for me to translate. Wow, 3 years of French mandatory. Gosh, yeah. I tell you what, Europe so diverse. Um, U.S. doesn't have that. We aren't there yet. Rich, what part of the world are you in? I don't remember. I know we've talked a couple times before. Are you in the 919 area code like Mr. Wilkins and I, or are you across the pond, as we say, or on the other side of the country, or oh, Raleigh area? Okay, cool. Um, I tell you what. Here's an interesting thing. So let's see. Eric is Eric. Eric's not on. So um, Eric Hannon, aka you're right. I'm sorry. I should say Raleigh. Sorry. Uh, Jamie's daughter is going to start writing me nasty grams, telling me to correct my pronunciation. So I'll continue to get better. I'm sorry, everyone. I stand corrected. He's mad at me back there for saying his name wrong. He's giving me the evil eye. Eric Hannon actually started mentoring me, and that was his way of staying connected. So 6 months ago, when I was at a startup and the startup blew up, and I decided, you know what, instead of going and working for somebody else, I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to start my own business. He was the one that, on pretty much a daily basis, was my personal scrum master. He would check in via Slack and ask what was going on, what I had on my plate, what my goals were for this week. He would check in and see how things were progressing. We basically did a virtual stand up. So he was essentially helping me along the way. And we stay in touch and help each other. So it was that symbiotic relationship where I was helping him and he was helping me. Maybe there's someone along the way, along your path, that you can help out. That's kept Eric and I rolling. And he didn't need much help, just little pokes. I keep poking him, like that's what I do. Like, I'm the bad guy that says, "Hey, Eric, you should probably do this." Like last time we talked about speaking at a conference in the last chat, and he got a little fired up at me, which is good. But that's what I'm trying to help him with, and he helps me with all my stuff, right? But it wasn't. Neither of us were asking for that. We just wanted to help. So I think you'll find that. Again, like I mentioned, my goal and expectation is that this channel becomes a set of mentors, maybe even better than a single mentor. Because again, like I said, there's a dozen people on here right now that are looking for help. And not only are people looking for help, but they're looking to give help. So that's exciting. Well, that's really cool, Scrum Sarge. Yeah, keep those Walters rolling. Let me throw my own. Yeah, Walter. And it's nice that I've got Walter actually straight today. At least I think he's straight. I took the time today before I started the stream to make sure that Walter was straight, because I realized in looking over my shoulder in the stream on Tuesday that Walter was a little bit crooked. I'm like, oh, come on, you gotta get your act together there, Josh. I didn't tell my wife; she would be very unhappy with me if she knew I streamed with a crooked Walter. Like, what kind of house are you showing people that we live in? Okay, so we heard from a few people. Yeah, it's the camera. It is straighter. It's better than it was on Tuesday. Um, Now, when I say I looked at it, I took like 0.3 seconds and said, "Oh, it's not terribly crooked," and moved on and started straightening up the rest of the room, because this is like the central room in our house. So this is on the second floor of our house where all the bedrooms are, but it's this central retreat or playroom or whatever where everyone hangs out. So you see behind me, those are my two sons' room and a bathroom between them. Directly in front of me is my daughter's room. So this is where chaos happens. So every day before the stream, I gotta clean up a bit of the disaster that was created from the night before. But that's a little bit of what's going on here. Okay, so we talked about Jamie gave us his 2 or 3 things. I gave my story. Who else jumped in? Who else has thoughts and idea about how they became a Scrum Master, Agile coach, or whatever? Because all the roles are different. Hey, Brave Dave, welcome back from the stand-up, and again, thanks to you for having this idea to share with everybody. Again, Brave Dave, in our Discord server, I keep looking over there because that's my laptop where I manage all the Discord stuff. In our Discord server, has for the second stream in a row popped in and said, "Hey, here's a topic that I think might be of value." So if you want to get ahead and start seeding ideas for the next discussions, join our Discord server. You see the link a few chat messages up that you can go on there. When you are a subscriber, you can subscribe for free, as I have mentioned before, and I will continue to mention. You can use Amazon Prime connected to Twitch, subscribe for free. That gets you some special additional activity that can be done in chat. So that's how you get to use our sweet Sir Walter Rally. I said it right. Emote. It also gets you into special subscriber only channels in Discord. So there's some cool perks that go along with that. It also just helps the stream. So if you have not followed, hit that follow button. If you have not subscribed and you have Amazon Prime, it's free. We appreciate it. If you want to help Twitch and Direct Relief, you can give bits. So there's all kinds of options that are out there for supporting the stream, and I thank you for all of them. You know, Scrum Sarge, it has been uncomfortably long that we're at 57. So I wonder what creative thing we can do. So that's a perfect example of things that I'm looking for when hiring people. Being on the team that just complains. Like, I don't want to hire complainers. I want to hire people that enable people to stop complaining, right? Just helping fix things. So, Mr. Wilkins, that's a good example from Lynn of what you can do. Identify something that's just frustrating and wrong and wasteful and charge through it and make a giant change. I would appreciate that, Mr. Wilkins. I know you did that. I know you did that on Tuesday, sharing on LinkedIn. So thank you for that. Another good idea from Agile Derek. Yeah, and that's that. I guess that's the thing I was hoping to highlight was Lynn just was unwilling to let things stay the way they were. And as I mentioned, your first step might not be a Scrum Master role, but it was one of those things where I was frustrated and I wanted to make things better. So I started implementing things with Agile, right? I had a similar path, right? I wasn't a Scrum Master right out of the gate. I ended up doing Scrum Master stuff just because I wanted to make things better. It sounds like Lynn was doing the same thing. And it got them noticed, and then something else, and then something else, and it got them in that role. So I think it might be just like Major League Baseball, right? Kids that get drafted for baseball, they don't go straight to the majors. They start in single A, then they earn their way up to double A and triple A, and then in the majors if they're lucky, right? But very, very rare do people go directly to the majors. So the same thing is likely going to be true with a career path that you're trying to put in front of yourself. Yeah, the character limit is sneaky. That's one thing that a bunch of people have complained about Twitch not telling you when you're over your limit. So you may have to retype some of that, which really stinks. And I'm sorry, but I appreciate it. And everybody appreciates you telling your story. Again, because we have people trying to navigate their way into it. And look at Scrum Sarge jumping in like a mod, saying, "Hey, check your character limit." Nice. So again, if anybody else wants to be a moderator, let me know. We can use the help. For those of you that weren't here on Tuesday, we had some crazy dude or crazy gal, we don't know, come in and be disruptive, and I wasn't able to handle the situation well enough. So now if that happens again, I can keep the conversation rolling, and Scrum Sergeant or other mods can ban them or kick them or do whatever. Yeah, Sippy Cup will live on in infamy. Maybe we'll get an emote for Sippy Cup. But the good thing, it taught us a lot of things. So I learned about chat moderation. I learned about a lot of things over the past couple of days. I learned how to turn people into moderators. So that's cool. That's exciting. Yeah, I got to get a new emote. So let's see. I don't think we get new emotes until we get to 100 followers. So that's one of those things. If we want to get, I've got to look up the rules to find out for sure. I can create additional emotes for the various levels of subscriptions. So your Twitch Prime subscription gets you level 1, or what I'm calling the shoe subscription. The subscription is level 2. That's $10 a month. Or the subscription level is $25 a month. So there's those things, and I can add additional emotes for people at those different levels. We haven't had anybody do that yet. I don't know that it ever will happen. If it does, that'd be pretty cool. But that's not what I'm doing here. So that's out there. I haven't even added those there for that. But so new emotes are 43 followers away. Actually, I tell you what's interesting, Sarge, now that I look at it, is that we actually have 68 followers, but this goal only tracks followers added in stream, so while we're live. So there have been an additional 11 followers that have come on board when we're offline. So like yesterday, when Mr. Wilkins posted something in LinkedIn, I got an email like last night that somebody followed the channel. So we're making a dent. Maybe I can bump that up to 68 and get that. But it does only show whenever we're, just like Lori Blue. Just like Lori Blue, who I'm sure will be watching this later tonight. Thank you, Lori. Good to have you. Okay, so Brave Dave, can you catch us up on everything that got cut off? Because I'm intrigued by how you went from that fifth wheel to landing in the role you were hoping to be in, or the role that you discovered was right for you. Yeah, it's one of those annoying things, but you know what? All these all these Twitch integrations are pretty cool and they're free. So I'm not going to complain too much since it adds a lot of cool stuff. But let me see. I think I can. Actually, I don't want to spam you guys, so I can go in and spam it and have it set with get up to 68. But I won't do that while we're streaming because that'll just spam a bunch of stuff in the stream, and you guys don't need that. Oh no, Scrum Sarge made me laugh, and that caused our light to fall down. So sorry if that broke any eardrums. Let me fix that real quick. Sorry about that. Very delicate balancing act. Yeah, so was that your Mad Libs, Scrum Sarge, of what you thought Brave Dave was going to say? I do like your Mad Lib, though, Scrum Sarge. Just needed to slap him. And that's how you became a Scrum Master. Okay, so Rich's question, is there any type of role to consider in lieu of Scrum Master to be able to migrate to a Scrum Master role? So your post, Brave Dave, let me help you out. So it cut off. The teams didn't need a BA at all. I spun my wheels for way longer than I should have until they need ... And that's where Scrum Sarge jumped in with his Mad Libs. So, all right, let me catch up on JB's, on Brave Dave's piece, and then we'll get back to Rich's question. So we'll finish Brave Dave's story. Dang. Was that like your drop the mic moment? Like, here's how you hire me, or why you hire me. Here's my 60 pages of notes. How did that person react when you dropped those 60 pages of notes on the table? That's a fantastic story of a relentless desire and a willingness to learn and absorb and just make things happen. So that is a common story of how I see people succeed. So Mr. Wilkins, hang in there, keep chopping away. As you see, Brave Dave was on this for 6 months. All right, so stay focused, stay dedicated, and you'll get there. So, Rich, my suggestion, and it's just a suggestion, right? So just, I wouldn't even, actually, let me retract the suggestion piece out. I don't want to be that heavy-handed. So a thing you could do is you could find a role in a company that you believe is truly agile, that does agile the way you would like to do it, the way you would like to lead it, the way you would like to Scrum Master, and just get in the door. And then as you see all of these other folks start wiggling their way into those ceremonies and asking questions and talking to people, and it might not happen right away, but you'll get there, right? So you think about in the gaming world, so many people want to go be a video game programmer, right? But that's super competitive because everybody wants to go. Everyone wants to be there. So they have a ton of options. So people just get in the door and they become testers and they hang around, and then they find an opportunity to show their chops as a coder. Maybe they help out on this feature. They get seen, they get discovered, and then they move into that role that they really want to do. So that's that's a pattern or a path that you could try. But I think if you find a truly agile organization, and you just get in there, and then you have an opportunity to show what you have and the passion you have and the desire to become that Scrum Master, as a good employee, people are going to want to find a way to facilitate you achieving your goals. That's what a good leader does. A good leader recognizes the goals that their employees have and helps them achieve them. So that's an option that you could do. Yes, Rich, I think that's the thing you've got to find is you've got to find an organization that is like what I just talked about, that is like what Scrum Sarge is showing here, that is willing to look under the covers a bit and look beyond the check boxes in the resume search and the keywords, and it's willing to give people a shot. So I think that's something you could try. You know, that's one idea that you have. Or you could go and build 60 pages of notes and just swing that hammer like you're freaking Thor. Like, hire me. Yeah, Scrum Sarge is nailing it today. Man. Impressive. Oh, we've got Josh yelling. I don't know if that's an angry yell or a happy yell. It's good to see the all caps. Here we'll give a few Walters. Yeah, so now, like I mentioned somewhere along the way, like I'm impersonating Thor. I should have known since I gave you the Thor reference. Do you have long hair like Thor? That would be cool. I couldn't have long hair. I wouldn't manage it very well. It'd be terrible. So as I was saying, I'm the opposite of many people. Like certifications don't mean a whole lot to me, but it is one of those things that gets you in the door, right? So like I know Bob, when Bob was going through and he took a SAFe class, he was taking a SAFe class almost exclusively because his customers were looking for someone certified in SAFe. So that opened doors for him. So he went and studied something that wasn't necessarily his cup of tea. He ended up finding a lot of value in it, but it opened doors for him. So the certs can be things that open doors. Yeah, so see, Mr. Wilkins, that company that says you need to have DevOps experience to be a Scrum Master, like they don't know what they're talking about. So you don't want to work for them. Yeah, Cross, I think that's the right way to look at it. I think that experience plus a certification is fantastic. And what I found in talking to a couple people is that going and getting your certification after you have that experience, it makes the certification mean a bit more, because you're not just learning so fast paced to get a cert, but you can think about how to apply that to what you've done. And that was one of the best things I ever heard from a PO that I worked with, was she actually waited to go get her cert until after she had been in the role for 6 months. And she told me how much more she felt like she learned because she had time living in that role. Now that doesn't help somebody that's new trying to get in a role like Rich or Mr. Wilkins here. So getting that cert may go help people open doors for them or have people read their resumes. But yeah, the cert plus experience is good. And for me, experience is always more than a cert. As long as the experience is appropriate and reasonable, everything goes along with that. So, Yeah, DevOps is one of those terms that means so many different things in so many different places, and it's so incorrect most of the time. Oh, that's good, Mr. Wilkins. Yeah, I think to Jamie's point, echoing the story I was telling, I think if you can afford to hold off and get the cert after you've been in the role, I think that cert will end up teaching you, not the cert will teach you more, but that course will teach you more. That effort of going through and acquiring that will teach you more. Not everybody's in a position to be able to do that. Maybe it makes sense to go get that done right now, so that way you can get a few doors open. Mr. Wilkins, got you covered. We will talk about DevOps. Man, you guys are slinging around acronyms, and I'm pretty sure I don't know half of them because I don't have a certification at all. Um, so, certified Scrum Master, professional Scrum Master, um, certified Scrum Product Owner. We'll go with that. Yeah, so I don't know. I generally shy away from anything with PMI in it. Similar to Sarge, but I don't know. I haven't looked into it. Let me look that up real quick. PMI, ACP, Agile Certified Practitioner. Yeah, I don't know. But so Brave Dave, to your point about distrusting anything from PMI, I ended up being pseudo forced into going to a SAFe course, a SAFe training class. And I went into it. Bob had just been to the training, and we actually did a podcast, and he just crushed SAFe and talked about, and not really SAFe the process, but SAFe the organization built around it. So I walked into that training like, oh my gosh, this isn't going to add any value. This is stupid. I can't believe I'm wasting my time going to this. And I walked out of that training session with some really good info that changed the way I worked, the way I built and ran my team. So even though you might not agree with everything, I'm willing to bet if you were to go through that process, you would be able to pull out a nugget of value. I don't know if the nugget would be big enough for you to offset the cost, but it might be one of those things that maybe you give a shot and you find something. I'm super happy I got forced to go to that SAFe course. I didn't want to go. I thought it was going to be a waste of time, but it opened my eyes to a few things, and like I said, changed my course on how I build and lead teams. And to this day, and it's actually one of those things that helped me in building my company that sets me apart, is some of the things that I do were ignited by those lessons that I learned in that SAFe course. So I think if you go into it with open mind, I think you'll find something that'll add a ton of value, but you may have to work. The sea of turds. Yeah, so Scrum Sarge, that SAFe the mode of operating versus SAFe the company, they're drastically different. I do appreciate how they iterate on SAFe and how it's on version X, whatever it is, but I do appreciate them continuing to refine it. I have a hard time viewing SAFe as the silver bullet right answer holistically for any company, but there are like the PI planning or PSI planning or whatever. Um, I use the heck out of that, and now I've tweaked it to make it my own. But the concept, the idea, the intent is really what I fell in love with. You guys are rocking. So Jamie also waded through the sea of turds that brave day. I'm not going to be able to get that out of my mind. And I've got two young boys, 12 and 9, that, oh my gosh, that's going to, I dare not mention that to them. They'll be rolling on the floor. So Scrum Sarge, my wife actually is using Agile in the classroom. So they have their projects on a Scrum board and they have their daily stand up and they talk about as a team where their projects are. So she's starting to introduce that into the way they work. So this is kindergarten through 5th grade, so elementary school here in Raleigh. She does that. In fact, she just left. She just hopped in the car and is driving to work there. So she's been really excited about the response. And the thing that's interesting and probably not shocking to those of you is that the kids take to it like a duck takes to water, right? They don't like, yeah, this makes sense. Why would you do it any other way? Like they just, there's no anything. It just happens. Agile classrooms, man. Uh, Agile Josh, I am, or Josh is Agile. Sorry. Um, I'm trying to get her to write up a ton of stuff about that because I think it's something that is insanely beneficial. She's super excited about it. It helps that we live under the same roof and we talk about it all the time. And this Twitch chat was her idea. So all those types of things. But she's been really excited about it, and there's a strong desire in the community, in the teaching community, to start to adopt some Agile principles. When I was at Dude Solutions here in Cary, we had a couple schools come out and spend a day with us and understand what Agile was and what the next generation of work looks like. And some folks started to take that back. So that's something that there's a real need for, and she's having a lot of traction with it. She's only been doing it for, gosh, it's December now, so for 3 months. But I think she waited to introduce Agile and Scrum until probably a month ago. So it's probably only been about a month since she's put that in place. And it's going really well. So we're talking about different ways and ideas to highlight that, enable more people to do that type of thing, so that way we keep our kids from having to live in the world of waterfall. Your son was doing Fist of Five? That's fantastic. This Agile Classrooms thing is... Yeah, this Daniel Pink. So if you go on the Agile Classrooms website, I've heard about Daniel Pink from my wife. So it's an interesting movement. I think it makes sense. I think it's the right way to go. And we'll see how things evolve over time. Nice to know their chores are on their Scrum board. That is cool. All right, folks. So, I'm going to wrap it up here. Number one, I'm going to thank everybody again. This chat. I mean, this last half hour, I talked for most of the first half hour. Then you guys just took over that second half hour. Fantastic. That's exactly what I hope this would be. Our mission is to continue to grow our followers. Let's get them to 100. When we come back on Tuesday, I'll make sure that we're at the appropriate number on our goal bar here that's on stream. But if you can, share the word. Let people know this is here. If you hear or talk to anybody that's having a challenge, send them here. Right? Let's be their mentor. So we are at 10 a.m. every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Eastern. So an hour and 12 minutes ago, depending on your time zone. So thanks for everybody for Eastern. Yep, 10 a.m. Eastern. We are going to tackle DevOps on Tuesday at someone's request. I think that was Mr. Wilkins' request. So that'll be our topic next Tuesday. Join our Discord, continue the conversation. Most people that are on here are on Discord. The links are in the server. You can type hashtag Discord. If I can type, there you go. To get links. There you go. Scrum Sarge. Man, this guy. Gosh. Moderating like a boss. If anybody else wants to jump in and help moderate so we don't have any more sippy cup problems, we can tackle those quickly. Subscribe if you have Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime for free. Again, we have this donation going on powered by Twitch. So to help give money, you can give bits. There's all kinds of things to do. But most importantly, I appreciate everybody for jumping in and having a great discussion, helping everybody out. Again, I think we can be this mentor as a service. And I look forward to Tuesday seeing everybody help each other out some more. All right. So thanks a million. Have a sorry. The sippy cup problems and Brave Dave and his daughter. Oh my gosh. Yes. I miss sippy cups and I don't miss them all at the same time. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for helping each other. And we'll see everybody on Tuesday. Have a good weekend, folks.